Hi everyone. I'm going to wait just a couple seconds to see if, wait for some people to pop on, find me, and then we'll get started. So, I'm going to wait just a couple seconds. While I'm waiting, I'm going to see if I can set up my laptop so I can see comments. Okay, if you're here, say hi so I know you're here. Hi Judy, I think I saw you popping in, so it's good to have you. I'm waiting just a couple seconds to give some people, if they're here, to hop on and to join. Great, I'm glad you can hear me. I'm going to be right back. So let me know if you can hear me now, because I changed things a little bit, and so I'm not sure. I know before you could hear me when I was, and then when I turned the camera down, you couldn't. So let me know if you can hear me. So Judy, if you can let me know if you can hear me now, that would be great. Went ahead and added the microphone, but I probably should have added it before we started, so I'm not sure if it's going to help or not. And I see someone else joining us, so that's great. Welcome. Okay, super. Hi, Jenny. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you know I'm Terry Hartley at Rustic Barn Cards, and I'm a independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. And today I'm going to give you some tips on blending and use a new stamp set from the mini catalog. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about a kit class that I'm offering January 26th. So I'm calling it the Tea and Card Kit Class. And I'm using the kit from the new mini called Hello, Dear Friend. And it's all inclusive. So that means it has everything you need: a block, stamps, ink, card bases, die cuts, coordinating envelopes. And we're going to have a class on January 26th, but you need to sign up by midnight on Monday, January 11th. And all you need to do is just place an order for the kit using me as your demonstrator with a special host code, which I'll have for you when we turn the camera down. So let me show you some of the cards that we're going to make. We'll make 12 cards, or the kit makes 12 cards. We probably won't make all 12, but we will make one of each of the 4 designs that are in the kit. So there's 2 smaller ones, and then there's 2 larger, if I get it turned around for you, and then 2 larger, there we go, 2 larger cards. And I'm also going to give you some alternative cards on January 26th. If you can't join us on that date, go ahead and order the kit, sign up, and I will send you a link so you can watch the stamping at your leisure. Okay, so I want to make sure that you have the new mini catalog. And if you do not, please reach out to me and I will send you one. And Celebration is going on right now. And Celebration is when you order, you get free product. Place an order for $50 from the mini or the annual catalog, and you can choose a qualifying gift free from the Celebration. and there's several to choose from. So again, the celebration is going on right now through the end of February, although our mini catalog will be current through June. And the stamp set I'm going to use is in the mini catalog. So I'm going to turn the camera down and we will start stamping. And also, if you want more information about the kit class, you can go to my blog, rusticbarncards.com, and see more information. Okay, bear with me while I switch this. Whoop. Didn't want to do that, but I did, didn't I? Okay, let's see. All right, here we go. There we go. That's going to work. Let me get this tightened up. Okay, let me know if you can still hear me, because I know last time this is when we had some problems. Okay, so today, let me know if you can hear me, and I hope you can. Today we're going to use this beautiful stamp set called Simply Succulents. Thank you, Judy, for letting me know that you can hear me. And we are going to make a card using these two images on the flower pot. But if you stay with me to the end, I have another card that I'm going to share with you using the large image. And what I like about this stamp set is that it also has dies with it. And the dies will cut out all of the sentiments. So let's look at those dies. You have a die for each of the three images of flowers and the flower pot. Plus, if you stamp an image, then you have a die cut that will cut that out. So that is really handy. And then you also have some extra die cuts too. So you have some little flowers, and you have one that cuts out all of the images and that goes around each of the sentiments. And then I haven't used this die yet, but isn't this gorgeous? This would make like a layer for one of your cards. And thank you for letting me know that you can still hear me, so that is encouraging. Okay, so let me show you the card we're going to make, and let's go ahead and start stamping. So this is the card that we're going to make today, and then as I said, I will have one more to share with you when we finish the stamping. And while I think of it, this is the host code to use if you're going to join the Tea and Kit card class. All right, let me show you the materials that we need. So I'm going to lay this aside. You'll need a card base of white. Remember that our Whisper White is no longer available, but we do have Basic White, and it is, you can order that now. So I've already taken the card base 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. So I'm going to lay that aside. You'll need another white card base at 3 1/4 by 4. You'll need Old Olive 5 1/4 by 4. And then you're going to need a scrap of Old Olive because we need to stamp a plant and our sentiment. And you need a scrap of white because we will stamp all of our images on that. And then I will be using the Subtle 3D embossing folder. And we have some blends too. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to bring in our Old Olive because we are going to use two inks today, Old Olive and Memento Black. So I'm going to kind of make my own DSP. And I'm bringing the smaller of the flower image in. And I'm also going to bring in a little grid paper so I can stamp off. And I'm just going to ink up my stamp. And then sometimes I'll stamp off so I can make some of the images full strength and then some a little bit lighter. And I'm just kind of randomly doing this. And DSP, a DSP is short. We use that for designer series paper. That was a good question. So, and to stamp off, I just ink it up and I stamp here. So the full strength is on the grid paper. And then when I stamp it on my cardstock, it's a little lighter than a full strength one would be. So here's a full strength. So it's a little darker. And the middle I'm not so worried about because we are going to have that covered up. And I think that looks good. I'm going to lay this aside, and I want to go ahead and finish, while I have the ink out, go ahead and finish my stamping. So I'm going to bring in my sentiment, and I'm using You Make the Ordinary Extraordinary. So that's what I'm going to use for my sentiment. So I'm going to ink that up. Sometimes it's kind of good just to practice, make sure you have it set right. It looks good. And then straight down and straight up. And then I will be die cutting this out. Okay, I'm going to lay that aside, and then I'm going to bring in my white. I'm going to go ahead and close this up because I'm going to be using Memento Black because I'm going to be using blends. And I like using the Memento Tuxedo Black best when you use blends because it doesn't tend to bleed, whereas using the other regular stamping, classic stamp ink pads, although you can use those too. Okay, so we are going to use our little flower pot. So we're going to go ahead and ink this up. And stamp that right down here. We're going to need 2 of the larger flowers because we're going to have 2 on our card. And these will be die cut out. I am going to show you that a little tip. So I have a little dot up here. And the reason is that I'm going to stamp it. And then I have a mark on my die. So that way it makes it easier for me to line it up. And then I need to clean this smaller stamp. And then I'm going to ink that up. I'm going to do that one more time because it kind of, there we go, get a better image. And then let me put the cover on the black Memento ink and we'll do some blending. Now, don't worry, you're not going to have to watch me color all of these because I have them already colored and die cut. But I did want to show you some tips about coloring. So for the flower pot on my card, I use the dark and light cinnamon cider, and then just did a little trim in here, Poppy Parade. And so right now I'm going to start with this flower here, and I'm going to be using dark Highland Heather and light purple Posy. Now you can start with either one. Sometimes I start with the light, sometimes I start with the dark. So I'm going to start with the dark Highland Heather right now, and I just want the tips of these flowers. So I'm just going to kind of go around the edge like that. And then you want to wait a few minutes and let it the alcohol kind of dissipate before you bring in your next blend. And plus you want to not do the whole thing at once. So you want to work just in an area. So just work in one area. So I'm just going to kind of do circles And I am covering up the dark. Because if you do not, you try to do the whole thing, it will dry too quickly because, and you won't be able to kind of blend. Then I'm coming back with the dark. And I'm just kind of doing the tips of the plant and waiting a second. Hi, Jess. I'm glad you're here. And then I'm going to come back in with my light. Now I want to show you that you can also do the light first. So now I'm going to work on, I'm going to go ahead and do those 3 with light. We might as well just go ahead and do that one too. And then wait just a second. I'm going to bring in that dark Highland Heather because I want just the tips of these to be darker, to kind of give it a little contrast. And then I can come back in with the light again too. And then I'll come back in with the light and just make kind of those circles. And then I can also come back in with the dark if I want to add just a little bit more. So you're just kind of blending it together, so it looks kind of natural. And you can come back with the light and kind of go over that. So my tip is just to work on a section at a time when you have like a large flower like this. Okay. So like I said, then what I would color them, and then I would bring in the dyes and see how I have that one marked, so I know that it will fit right over the, because I marked it on my stamp too. So that's just another little tip. And then I would lay all of my dyes here, and I like to use these little strips. Just kind of keeps them in place a little bit. And after I have them colored, and I would run them through the embossing machine or whatever die cutting machine that you have. And then I also did, I'm not sure what this is, maybe some kind of a plant. And I ran this through on old olive. So let me bring in, so I already have our label and I have our flowers. So you won't have to watch me color all of those, but I did want to show you the tips on coloring. And now we're ready to put our card together. But before we do that, I need to run this Whisper White through the embossing folder. So I'll bring in my subtle 3D embossing folder and lay this here. And then, of course, the closed edge goes through. And I have that already done. And here it is. So it is subtle, but I think it just gives it a little bit of a nice look to it. And now we're going to bring in our card base. And this is the designer series paper that we made because we stamped all over it. And we're going to now adhere this to our card base. So we're going to put our card together. I am bringing in liquid glue. And sometimes, if your liquid glue doesn't come out, sometimes it gets kind of like right in the, so you can just take that off and we'll just add this. And I find it easier if I open my card when I lay my layer down, just to be able to line it up a little bit easier and straight. Then once I get it where as straight as I can, then I press down. And now we're ready to add this. Now you could pop this up on Dimensionals, but I'm not. I'm just going to go ahead and add glue. And I'm going to put this about in the middle, or the best I can for the middle. All right. Now, my little flower pot. But before I want to make sure I have room for my sentiment. So I'm going to kind of just lay it right down here because I want my flower pot to show. So I'll put my sentiment there. And okay, that's going to work. So then I can move my sentiment out, and I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Seal, maybe. Here it is, hiding right here. And I'm just going to put adhesive on this bottom portion. So I have this opening at the top to be able to add some of the flowers. And now maybe just to make sure that we have this, we have and then I'm going to bring in and I looked up online and found out there's lots of different colors of these flowers. So again, I'm going to turn that over and add my Stampin' Seal Plus. Stampin' Seal Plus seems to work better for me than Stampin' Seal, so I'm not sure why, but we'll place that right there. And then on this flower, I'm going to put adhesive just on the bottom and then tuck it in here. And again, you could pop these flowers up with dimensionals. That would work really great too. And I want one that's a little bit shorter than the other one, but I want it in the pot, so I don't want that showing outside. There we go. And then I'm going to bring in this little extra and a silicone craft sheet would be awesome, but I have ordered one, but I don't have one right now. So I'm going to stick that right here. And then I am going to go ahead and pop this little flower up on the outside of the vase. I didn't on my card that I showed you earlier, but you know, sometimes we like to change things as we go, right? So I'm going to pop that up right there, and I am going to pop up our sentiment. Those little covers want to stay with you sometimes. So we'll pop that right down here. And of course, a card isn't complete, I don't think, without an embellishment. So let's bring in our Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And my take or pick tool. And we'll pick up one of the rhinestones and we'll put it right here. And our card is completed. It's one of the things I kind of focus on, quick and easy cards. And this is the card that I showed you. And this is the card that we made. But I told you if you stayed with me, I was going to show you one more card using that large succulent. And here it is. So let me get these out of the way so you can see it better. So this is the card that I made using the large image. And I added You've Been on My Mind. And here I use Night of Navy. And I used the designer series paper out of the Celebration catalog. And I should have had the name for you so I could tell you what that was. And here it is. So the Paper Blooms designer series paper on page 3. It's right here. And that's what I used on this card. So here are the cards for today. And you can let me know which one you like the best. Do you like with the old olive? Or do you like the Night of Navy, like the larger image? Or do you like with the smaller ones? I'd love to know what you think. And again, you can check out my blog at rusticbarncards.com. I will have images and all the dimensions for these cards on my blog. Just give me, probably will be later on this evening. But again, if you want to take the Tea and Kit card class, use this host code and just place an order for the Hello Dear Friend card kit class, or the kit rather, the Hello Dear Friend kit on page 6 of the mini catalog. And on my blog, rusticbarncards.com, I have all the information for you if you want to take the class. I appreciate you being here. Thanks, Judy, for letting me know you like that middle card with the smaller flowers the best. I appreciate you being here and watching. And today is Monday, January 11th, 2021. So if you are watching this after that date, you're watching the replay. So thank you very much and have a great day.